Joe, what is something now that you're working on as far as your technique? You got some time, or is there anything that you're working on technically to that is something that you haven't done before?
Uh, Not that I would show you or the rest of the world.
But there are things that you're working on, right? Always.
Yes, yeah. I guess it's funny, I've been playing guitar for a long time, and I started as a drummer when I was 9. So my patience for practicing has been waning over the decades. When you're 14, you'll spend, as many hours as you don't have to be at school or doing work around the house, whatever, playing guitar. But it's different when you're 30 and then you're 40 and 50 and, oh my God, I'm 64 years old. So it's like, how much patience do I have to go through every scale and every key and every exercise I've ever seen? And so I just don't do it because there's no time. Well, I won't make excuses. I'll just tell you what I'm like, which is I find that when I'm practicing technique, that part of me that's creative starts to fade. And the stuff that I write is based on what I'm practicing. And so when I listen back to it, I go, well, who's going to buy a ticket to see somebody practice, right? So, and plus kids do it much better on Instagram today. They just know how to turn it on for the phone and 16 seconds of the fastest, crazy stuff you ever heard.
Right.
I love it. I mean, it's better than coffee in the morning is just watching Instagram for like a minute or two,
Yeah, it's I love watching Instagram. It's very fun.
So what I find is that it's better for me if I just concentrate on writing and writing and writing. So behind the camera is my Pro Tools rig, and there's a song that is really weird. And I have just been working and working this song. There's no guitar on it yet. So I'm just playing keyboards. I'm not a great keyboard player, so it's mainly harmonic shapes and stuff. And it's a curious thing because there's no 5, there's only a flat 5, and I'm trying to create a beautiful melody over some very weird changes, but the thing is moving between a minor chord and then a major chord off the flat 5. So I'll do that, for hours and hours for a couple of weeks. I might send a demo to the guys just so they'll yell at me and tell me I suck or something like that. But just, just to get me going. And then eventually it will push me to play something that I haven't done before. And I have a feeling that this particular song is going to teach me how to avoid a note that is ingrained in all my fingering. Because when you pick up the guitar, oh, you can't hear it, sorry. And then this is just mindless stuff that my fingers kick out, because I've done it a million times. And but that's not original, and it's not really about this song that I'm playing. I could certainly impress my friends by playing the fastest thing I could over this, but I just be playing all the notes all the time. And I hate that, because ultimately I want an album, let's say if there's 10 songs, where they're like a Hendrix album. Every song is different. You're scratching your head going, is that the same guy playing guitar again on the third song? Sounds not like the guy on the second song, Different guitar, different scale, different temperament, different attitude. Everything. I like to play guitar specifically for the song. And so if anything, I would admit that if I practice too much, the guitar player is just going to want to show off. And if I'm working at home, there's nobody to stop me. If I'm with John Cunninberty, he'll tap me on the shoulder and he'll say, "Oh, give me a break. Do that again. Play something interesting," And so all the producers that I've worked with have been that cool and that talented, and they'll sit there like Jim Scott just last December. I think he watched me one day play solos for 6 hours. I must have done 180 solos. And every one of them was a miss. And it was like kind of close. And, he was encouraging, but at the same time, he'd look, he'd shake his head like, not getting anywhere with this one. So it wasn't until the very end when I thought, okay, suicide is perhaps an option here at the last solo, that something happened. And so, sometimes that happens. You just have to blow out all the things that people think you are well known for it.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you. Joe, if I were to ask you what is your favorite solo that you've played, could you pick one or pick a couple?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'd still scratching my head. I mean, first of all, it's painful to listen to my performances because I have a memory of every take, and so there's always a story behind it, like why didn't I just do that again? Or, how come that, the situation didn't allow me to do that again? Or why did I think that was a good idea or that approach, that's the curse, one of the cool things about being on tour is you get to, play this stuff over and over again. So I've been blessed with the opportunity to play Surfing with the Alien over and over again every night, and I'm still working on it. I'm still thinking. Now, and that's because, that melody, the melody performance happened at Hyde Street Studios one afternoon. One take from the beginning to the end. There were people standing at the door like this, pointing to their watches. That's when people had watches. It's like 4:00, dude, get out of the studio, and I'm like, oh, just give me a couple more minutes here. And we're plugged into the eventide that's not working right, and the tube driver and the marshal, and I hadn't really prepared for it. So I just did this thing, playing that Kramer guitar that would go out of tune if you looked at it, and that was it. And we couldn't recreate the sound or anything. So I listened to that. When I listened to the album, I go, that's very inspired and it's fun and it's supposed to be fun, but damn, I wish I could have tuned the guitar.
So even now, Joe, you still think back to then when you listen to the performance, all those things come back to you. You remember
Yes.
being there, and then you're really self-critical about your own playing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, from that record, like, Satch Boogie, hadn't really figured out how to play it. So that means every time I play the head in the song, if you listen to it, I play each time it's different. Not because I was clever, but because I hadn't really figured out, and we didn't even know if it was going to work, and then we sat back and listened to it and we thought, yeah, that's a head, right? That's a head. That'll work. And then the last record, same thing. We recorded stuff, weren't sure if, I hadn't really prepared to play it. But, when a producer says, hey, what if you, grab that other guitar and did that part? And I go, okay, let's try it. And we'd sit there and you go, wow, that's uncomfortable. And I'd have to work on it for a while. And then, the beauty of recording, of course, is that you show the best version, But my memory, of course, is all the failures leading up to the best version. So, yeah, that's again, that's why when you're on stage every night, it's a relief because you can say, wow. It can be as subtle as like, is it like, or is it, or, I mean, I play around with what note to bend, what note to play flat. The length of the note, how do I pick it? We're not even talking about the sound. that Marshall there is turned up pretty loud, I think. Yeah. So, and I'm using the Waza thing. But I'll work on that. If I have a 60-day tour, every night I'll go out and I'll go, okay, tonight I'm going to take that seventh note and I'm going to wiggle it. And then the one after that, I'm going to play short and I'm going to see what happens. See if someone in the audience closes their eyes or does this, it's just like anything to reach people more,